everybody. I'm Sean Reynolds from Sportsnet, about to be joined by Ken Weaver from Sportsnet. Together we are Kenny and Renny, and this is Kenny and Renny episode after, what was that? What was that out there tonight? That was absolutely unbelievable. I have to say, I was down in the Zamboni entrance where I spend my time when we're doing a broadcast, and the Jets crew that goes out and cleans the ice. After they scored that game-tying goal, I must have had the most dumbfounded look on my face, because one of the ice cleanup crew was looked at me and pointed at me because I think my face just must have looked so ridiculous. I could not believe what I was seeing when the Jets blew that 3-0 lead, and it makes it such a difficult game, or easy. I don't know. Is it difficult? Is it easy? It may be both to talk about, because it's hard to look at that game and think that for the vast majority of it, the Jets weren't near perfect. They did a phenomenal job, and then all of a sudden they couldn't stop things, and then they responded the right way. And the feeling in this building afterwards, I got to tell you, is, again, I've made this point leading up to this about enjoy what you have here, because regardless of where this Winnipeg Jets team goes, what you're watching here is just another one of these special nights. This is an NHL hockey game between two phenomenal teams with an unbelievable ending, an unbelievable twist. And Winnipeg, you're watching this. You're watching this world-class event unrolling in front of your face. And it's not like that in every single hockey market, because some hockey teams aren't that good. And things like this don't happen. So, take a look at this situation, however you want to spin it. And I shouldn't say spin it. However you want to view this. I know there's going to be some people who are saying, sound the alarm bells that the Jets got scored on that way. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. We're going to have to get into that conversation. I think Ken's got an idea of why that happened. I know I most definitely have an idea of what that happened and a theory of why that happened. But the one thing you got to walk away from is this is another Jets victory, pulling out a victory in uncertain circumstances. I'm not necessarily liking that idea of a team that knows how to win, because I'll tell you one thing, 3-on-3 overtime is artificial. So if this is a playoff game and the Jets have given up 3 straight goals and this goes into overtime, this is a bad thing, in my opinion. It's a bad thing. The goal that Josh Morrissey scores to win that game is not happening in the playoffs. One, because it's 3-on-3 hockey, but two, things just kind of clamp up after that. So I'm not saying that this is an issue. I'm not saying that we shouldn't talk about it. We should talk about it. But I still walk away from this situation. I think the way that the Jets bounced back, the way that they were able to push in the overtime period, the way that they did, and the way they were able to get, a heroic performance by Josh Morrissey, who is clearly the Jets' biggest hero this year, is something that if you're a fan and you want to celebrate it, by all means, go ahead and celebrate it. If you're a fan who's frustrated by this situation, by all means, go on and be frustrated. Just more to talk about. And if we want to talk more about this, we should bring in the main man to talk about it. Let's bring in our guy, Kenny, the man with the best music in the business, back from the Grey Cup. Here comes Kenny. And before you get rolling, I wanted to point out something here that I think needs to be pointed out. MBHA Ball Hockey says Carolina is a good team, but they are not the juggernaut they are made out to be. We need to keep in mind that their second-line centerman, Teuvo Teravainen, is out right now. This is a really, really good player on both sides of the ice. Max Pacioretty, a 4 or 5-time 30 goal scorer is out of this lineup right now. Jake Gardiner, their starting goaltender, Andre Kasha, who they went to pick up and thought they'd be able to put in a good spot. Like, I know that the Jets have been ravaged by injuries, but the quality of player that is out of the Carolina lineup right now is very, very dramatic. And you know, maybe this is to NBHA ball hockey's point. There's a lot of players that are absolutely, you know, lost right now. Seth Jarvis from Winnipeg here looks to be one of them. He's only got 6 points in however many games, I think 18 games. Jesperi Kotkaniemi with just 3. He's their second line centerman right now. So things are going to get better for this Carolina Hurricanes team. But I disagree with NBAHA ball hockey in here, just because saying they're not the juggernaut they are made out to be. This is a team that, if you believe in the Jets, and there's reason to, just took them to overtime without all those players. Yes, we're missing Ehlers, but beyond that, the players that are out of the Jets lineup are more on the bottom end of the lineup, whereas the very top end of the Carolina lineup is out of it right now. Just wanted to make that point and get to Ken. Ken, so much to talk about with this game. What did you see?
Yeah, fun game on a lot of fronts for sure. Highly, again, I don't think that was the Hurricanes' A game, but this is a very good hockey team. I mean, they're second in the Metropolitan Division, or they were going into tonight. They're a team that is very sound defensively for the most part. I mean, they're playing their third string goalie also. I mean, but he's been solid. I mean, this is a guy who stepped
he's been
in
better
before.
than their second string.
Right, which is why he's now
now
he's the backup. So, I mean...
Well, yeah, this is the first game he actually played 2 straight games in a row. And Rod Brindamore did tell me that, no, this will not be him taking the crease, that they're probably going to go
they're going to share,
flopping back and forth. But of the goalies left standing for that team, I do believe the Jets saw the better of the two tonight.
Yeah, I mean, and let's not kid ourselves. Part of the reason the Carolina Hurricanes played a B game is because of how good the Jets were defensively. I mean, this was a sound defensive game for 55 minutes. I mean, they played a very good game. They didn't give up a whole lot. I mean, in terms of high danger chances, Andrei Svechnikov had a really good chance, but they weren't overwhelming in terms of their chances given up. I thought the Jets were really sound at not giving up many, a ton of grade A's. And hey, the Jets beat one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference with their own backup goalie, Sean. So that's something that I think also needs to be under consideration here. And again, some people are down on Rittich. I don't blame David Rittich for the fact this game got to overtime at all. You talked about it off air. The Jets did a great job of clearing the front of the net for 55 minutes. And then in the last 3 goals, all of which came with an extra attacker with the goalie on the bench, there were point shots that were A, either tipped, or B, through a ton of traffic. People say, I saw someone said, wake up, Rittich, come on. Rittich was fine. Rittich was not the reason this game got to overtime. The Jets' inability to get the puck out or ice it with an empty net goal, that was the reason the game got to overtime. It had nothing to do with the Jets sitting back and getting tentative. I didn't see it that way at all. So was it a perfect game? Of course not. If a team gives up 3 goals in the last 5 minutes and change, of course it's not a perfect game. But I mean, if you're looking for a template, that 55 minutes, I would say, is a very good template. And the Jets were tenacious and resilient in a game where they could have easily, I mean, again, I get it. If the Jets come away with only 1 point tonight, there's disappointment, and big time disappointment. But I don't see that as an issue. The goaltending was sound for me, and I don't think the goal still hasn't been changed, but I'm certain that Stefan Noesen tipped in that shot by Marty Necas. Don't you think? Sean, you were watching the feed.
I mean, I was watching the feed.
Maybe not obvious, but it certainly looked like it.
Yeah. But, I don't know. Whatever. It is what it is. Go on.
One quick one. I mean, Rick Bowness thought the Jets should have been a little bit, crisper in terms of their execution with the empty net. I didn't really see much more of a lane for Kyle Connor to get through on that shot that Jacob Slavin stopped. I mean, would he have liked to maybe gone in a little bit tighter on him? Maybe, but I'm not sure. It's not like he missed a wide open chance. So there again, too, I give Carolina credit. I mean, could he have maybe shifted right to left or left to right and then gone outside? I just didn't see it as casual as Rick did. Now, again, I don't blame him, but did you think it was casual? You were down at that end.
I didn't think it. Well, I thought it was casual in the way that he went for the net, right? So this was one of the things that a couple games ago I was going to point out, and I think it was Kyle Connor had the puck. There was an empty net, and there was an opportunity to go after the empty net, and he didn't. And I thought, here's a player who has struggled to get goals this year, and he made the right play. He didn't do a hope play or a wish play. He did the right play tonight. I think what Rick is talking about is he rather would have seen Kyle hold on to that puck, and if you can't get it to the net, skate it into the corner, but don't just give it away, right? Like that's what Rick is saying, is that he attempted the empty net. If it goes in, the game's over. But if it doesn't, you give the puck back to a team that has all kinds of momentum, and that's what they need, is to get the puck back. And rather than make them earn the puck back, Kyle Connor went for the net and gave them the puck back. I think that would be his beat.
It's not giving it up. I mean, the guy had to make a save, basically. The defenseman made a save. I mean,
did he give it up?
It's not a flip shot.
Did he give it up?
I mean, could he have gone for a clapper? Sure. But it's not like he
give it up?
He didn't turn it over, though, Sean. I mean,
he did. He gave it right back to him. He did turn it over.
He shot at the net, which was vacated.
Well, with a guy there who stopped it and then picked up the puck. He gave the puck away. That's a giveaway. It's a giveaway. So if you're a coach, I know what you're saying, but the coach isn't making that distinction. The coach is saying we had possession and we offered them a chance at possession. Yes, it was a risk-reward scenario in which you're trying to score a goal which would end the game. I can understand why he does it. I can also understand why a coach says, you know what, hold on to it for a better lane, or just keep holding on to it. Like you're Kyle Connor. Go for a skate with that thing, right? And then you kill some time. You don't give them the puck back. In the end, what he did was gave the puck back. They come down the other way and they score. If you're the coach, that's why you have that.
Sorry, so that part is casual. Yes, I get it. But I did not see any casualness to the play itself. I mean, so if Kyle Connor skates the puck into the corner and turns it over there, it's a way worse situation than if he tries to shoot it. Of course, because he's got to go 200 feet now. To me, it's at the end of the shift, I think. It wasn't early. I'd have to look back and look. But I didn't feel that it was all. Could he have made a better shot? I mean, could he have taken a big clapper at him? I mean, sure. I just didn't. I didn't think it was. I mean, again, I'm not trying to say Rick Bowness was wrong. I just in real time.
Tell him, Ken.
Yeah, in real time, I didn't see it was that casual. Personally, could they have made a better play? And there's the other part, Sean. Why I will say why I think he did shoot it. I think the Jets actually gave up a couple opportunities to shoot at the empty net when it was 3-0 or 3-1, where I thought they could have been. I thought they were much more casual in other situations. So I don't know. I mean, again, I didn't see the Jets sit back.
You're wrong, and you're dragging BA Split down with you. Don't do this to your supporters. I'm kidding. Go on.
Or what else do you want him to do? Do you want him to turn it back out into his own end? I mean, I just didn't see a lot of other options available to him. I agree with you. If it's at the start of a shift, by all means, skate it down low, try to go around him. I think that actually Slavin made a good play. I mean.
No doubt he made a good play.
And it wasn't like he just shot it right at him or flipped it at him. I mean, it wasn't a casual shot.
He went for it.
Right. Anyway, sorry, that's not.
I think he thinks it's casual in his decision making. Like at that moment,
just to shoot it, you mean?
Yeah, I think he thinks what you need to think at that moment is what is best right now. That the opportunity for you to potentially score, even though that guy's there.
Sure.
Or is it better to grab it and make them take it off you, right? Grind in the corner, do whatever with it. Listen, if I'm in that position, I'm probably doing the same thing. I'm not trying to say here Kyle Connor made some egregious error, but when you're a coach, there's certain, like, we know he was on this podcast telling us he doesn't believe in gray areas. There's black and there's white. I believe that Rick Bowness looks at that play and thinks it's a black and white play, and that the thing that should be done is the player should not take a risk at turning the puck over in an attempt to win the game, that he should hold on to the puck until he either creates that definitive lane for himself or kill some time. Anyway.
No, totally fair. I mean, I don't think the Jets played that last 5 minutes particularly well, but I don't think they sat back. My issue with the Jets in that situation, there were several times they could have cleared the puck out along the boards before that last wave. It didn't happen immediately, but it did happen within the stretch of the shift. But Again, Jets need to be better in clearing the front of the net. I mean, you were in there. I mean, David Rittich was beside himself, disappointed, upset.
Yeah.
This kid's a guy. I mean, I give David Rittich credit. He beat one of the best Eastern Conference teams, one of the Stanley Cup contenders, and he played solid. I mean, it was basically through traffic or tipped shots that beat him tonight in a game where, quite frankly, on the drive home from Regina, Sean, I was a little bit surprised that David Rittich was getting the start. And that's not a knock on David Rittich, but after losing to the Pittsburgh Penguins on Saturday in a game where they didn't generate enough offense, yes, Tristan Jarry was very good, but to me, I thought it was a bit... If I'm looking at the schedule this week with the 4 games, the 4th game is the one that I would have thought that he played against the Chicago Blackhawks. That's the easier game according to the schedule. But at the same time, Rick Bowness doesn't want David Rittich to be sitting too long. He's had a couple strong performances, and he did his job again. He gave his team a chance to win, and he won the game. I just think it's unfortunate for David Rittich because for a backup goalie, the 4-goal period he gave up against the Vegas Golden Knights in his first start, that has skewed his numbers. So now today, if you're just looking at the box score and thinking, oh, well, Rittich gave up 3 again. Ho hum. David Rittich could have had a shutout. Probably should have had a shutout. So to me, I think Rittich was fine. And that's still a game that David Rittich can feel confidence in because he beat one of the better teams in the NHL.
I want to get into that because I had a conversation with Rick
you were
Bowness,
here.
and so the David Rittich thing I find is really fascinating and worth a pretty deep conversation. But first, I got to just say, Ken, you're looking sharp as usual. You told me that is for sure a Frank number that you're wearing there, as is this. Boy, oh boy. Both looking sharp tonight, Ken, I gotta say, and it's because of our main man Frank and the boys over at Vittorio Rossi. You know what to do if you want to look like Kenny and Renny. There's one place to go do that, and that's on Corden Avenue at Vittorio Rossi. Go see Frankie and the boys. They will take care of you. They will do everything you need to do if you're a guy like me. Listen, I had a 90s picture of me shown earlier in the broadcast today. People see what the base Renny looks like. It's a mess, Ken. It's a mess. So to clean up like this, and you need a guy like Frank. If you're as hopeless as Renny was in the 90s, you need a Frank in your life. So go on down to Vittorio Rossi and see those guys. I want to get to David Rittich, but boy, oh boy, we're 18 minutes into this podcast already. So what's your Trans-Canada Brewing a lamplighter tonight? Ken and chat room, weigh in on this. We need to know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of options, and I don't have to go through the laundry list, but I mean, the lamplighter is Josh Morrissey's overtime winner. Excellent read by Pierre-Luc Dubois to find Josh Morrissey, who made a great read to sneak behind the Hurricanes defender during that line change. Excellent feed, caught him in with speed, busted in, and beat the netminder with a really good wrist shot. It was impressive to see, and again, another night. We just talked about this on our post-game hit for Sportsnet and sportsnet.ca. Josh Morrissey, ho-hum, 25 minutes, has another strong game, two goals. But I don't care the fact that he got 2 goals. He had an excellent game, right? I mean, this is another game where he's on his game throughout the game and is incredibly sound. And let's dig right into it, Sean. I mean, for folks who weren't watching the post-game show. Oh, sorry. Let's get the banner up, and then we'll dig in a little bit more on the goal itself.
Okay, so like I've been saying, and everyone's doing their job here, giving us your lamplighter. If you can't wait for us to hand out a frosty 8-pack of lamplighter to you, you might as well just head on down to Trans-Canada Brewing Company. Join them at their tap room, 11290 Kenaston. It's the lamplighter is the nectar of the gods, but I'll tell you, they've got so much there, and it is so good. People keep telling me about their sours all the time, Ken. They're raving about their sours. Everyone keeps telling me to get more of those. I know they gave us some of those. I'm going to have to go check it out tonight, but I got to catch a flight tomorrow to head to Minnesota. I think you do too. So yes, maybe we should not get too out of control. See you at the airport. But if you didn't know, you know now. Trans-Canada Brewing Company Lamplighter Ale. We are giving away an 8-pack every single show. All you have to do is tell us what your goal of the game was, your lamplighter of the game, and just by sharing it in the chat room or sending me the message afterwards to one of my social media platforms, you enter to win. And I gotta say, Ken, I'm blown away. Stonewall Dave, who we've known from this show for a long time, won the 8-pack last time and never got a hold of me. He never got a hold of me, so it's a rollover episode of Lamplighter Amber.
Is Stonewall Dave in here today? Does he still have time to claim? Hang on, is he in here?
16-pack. We're going to give him 2 minutes before I name the next person who wins. 2 minutes. I'm looking at it right now. 22-25, 2-minute warning. So in the meantime, let's do the Johnston Group Got You Covered play of the game, Ted. Let me do this. I'll do this. I'm not even going to make it a play of the game. I'm going to make it the head coach of the Carolina Hurricanes, Rod the Bod, who has the massive cojones to pull his goaltender with 5 minutes left. And then I thought, this is the subtlety of it, Ken. It wasn't a panic after that. What do you got to say?
No, yeah. I mean, he didn't even keep him out the whole time. He was strategic in his pulls.
Exactly. And that's why that was such a good play by him. But he put his team in so it's like, guys, you're down 3-0. Don't worry, I got you covered. Rod the Bod is, and I'll tell you this, behind the scenes when we talk to them, an absolute pleasure to talk to. Really upfront guy, tells really good stories, but you could tell he's like that kind of gritty. He's there talking to you, but his mind is also like, can we get done with this so I can go back to work? The guy's a workaholic. Absolutely great stuff. But that is, I will throw it out there. That is our Johnston Group Got You Covered moment of the game, or not moment, I guess a series of moments. But I just want to give a shout out to our friends at the Johnston Group. You won't find 2 businesses with the same challenges, but you will find 30,000 businesses with Chambers Plan employee benefits, proudly administered by our friends at Johnston Group. Chambers Plan is Canada's #1 plan for employee benefits because it evolves with the way you work and live. The plan is run as a not-for-profit designed specifically to support small businesses, and its unique pooling strategy keeps rates stable so you won't have any surprises at your next renewal. Chambers Plan now comes with professional consulting on key financial, legal, and HR issues, and Teladoc telemedicine services are included with every health option. See how Chambers Plan can benefit your business by visiting chamberplan.ca. Okay, let's get into this conversation about David Rittich. I think... What's that?
Sorry, I thought we were going to get into Morrissey. It's all good. You go.
No, I want to finish up because you were talking about Rittich. And hold on, before we do that, unless you saw Stonewall Dave jump in and there he is. Wait, Stonewall Dave, are you claiming this thing or what?
He is.
Okay. I don't know. Okay, we'll hold off.
That's a claim.
That's a claim.
Successful claim.
The claim, as the rules state, is he's supposed to send me his information before the show so that I can hand it over to him.
Come on, the guy just said he had COVID. Look at the thing. Look at the thing he just said. Look at the thing you just put up there.
I was playing COD. I read
I'm
COD.
sorry. I read
COD. What is
Never
this?
mind. I don't even know what COD is.
See, everybody, the backstory to this is Ken has COVID, and he's been giving me this sob story the whole time. My energy's not up. I'm not sure how good
I don't have COVID. I had COVID. Come on. There's a big
COVID.
There's a
and
big
now,
distinction.
What is this? Some kind of COVID brotherhood? You guys get
okay, hang on
anything you want because you got COVID?
Yeah,
What's the deal here?
I had a super light few days at the Grey Cup and then a 6-hour drive home. I'm really slacking out here.
All right, Merle Peters, you won at least an 8-pack. I'm going to give Stonewall Dave until the end of the show to send me his information, his full name.
Hang on, never mind. What is COD? Like, Stonewall Dave lost the 8-pack.
Yeah.
I was trying to defend him.
Are you doing it?
No, forget it. Never mind. We need no. Give the people what they want. Stonewall Dave, give him an 8-pack. He's a regular. He's a regular.
Okay.
Yes.
Stonewall Dave has until the end of the show to message me on my socials, his email and his full name. That when I get off this show, it has to be there. If it's not, our next winner goes from winning an 8-pack to a 16-pack. That next winner is Merle Peters, who has been just absolutely religiously chiming in every single time with the lamplighter. So Merle, you have at least an 8-pack of Frosty Delicious Lamplighter Amber Ale, maybe a 16-pack, depending if Stonewall Dave can get over his COD and get this done in the socials. Okay, to David Rittich. I wanted to have this conversation. This is extremely interesting because, like you, I had thought it was very strange, and this is one of these things that I think is a remnant of covering this team under Paul Maurice, right, Ken? Because we usually knew what to expect, in these situations. And because what we've seen so far under a very light schedule is a healthy dose of Connor Hellebuyck. To your point, it's a game in which Connor Hellebuyck last game gets outdueled by the opposition goaltender. And a lot of times what we would have expected from Paul Maurice was to give him a chance to get back in and steal that crease back, right? Also, what we saw from Paul Maurice was this constant, non-stop, ongoing dialogue between the coach and the goaltender, with the goaltender basically saying, I want to play every single game. I want to play every single game. Well, we saw where that led last year. It led to a situation where their backup goaltender in Eric Comrie did not get anywhere near the amount of games he deserved, or probably, or at least in my opinion, should have had. I think that this is, okay, the idea of Rick Bowness and him saying everyone on this team gets a bigger piece of the victories from now on. The fourth line does, the third line does. You saw that. We've seen the fourth line and third line usage pay off for this team because everyone feels more involved. It is my theory that that extends to the goaltending situation. Had a conversation with Rick Bowness before this game, asked about him putting him in. He says, A, we need our goaltender. You've heard him say this. We need him to be 500 plus if we are going to go to the playoffs. So we need him to do that. And B, in order to do that, you can't leave him sit too long. So yes, there's a way to manage your starting goaltender, but there's a way you have to manage your backup goaltender because you need him to be 500 plus. And in order to do that, you can't sit him for too long. I think that Rick Bowness walked into this today, and I think there's a message here. And I'm not saying that Connor Hellebuyck needs this message, but regardless, I think there's a message in this that, listen, this isn't about getting you back in the net and giving you a good feeling. This is about the Winnipeg Jets. It's not about Connor Hellebuyck and managing what's best for Connor Hellebuyck. What's best for Connor Hellebuyck is whatever I think is best for the Jets. And tonight it was David Rittich going in net, and it worked out. It was, I can tell you this, Ken, we always talk to, a star of the game for an interview after the game. We were talking to David Rittich. People will notice that we had him as the player of the game with about 6 minutes left in the game, and that all kind of fell apart. To your point, that's a tough media veil for a goaltender to come out when everyone's celebrating a win, and every question you face is like, how did you blow that lead there? But to your point, and I should get this point in as well, I think what happened in that situation, the Jets have been so good a man down. And one thing that they were phenomenal at for the first 55 minutes of that game was clearing the front of the net. No one was getting to the front of the net. I just think that once Carolina added that extra guy, the 6-on-5 was actually better for them than 5-on-5 was, because it's that many more men to throw to the net, create some havoc. And you've just got like really, really good defensemen on that team at getting the puck through. They found a way to get it through. I think some people have been talking about this loss and saying, hey, this is a good thing. They get the 2 points, they learn from it, they move on. I think that's right, because I think that there's some really good tape here for Rick Bowness and his coaching staff to show the Winnipeg Jets to say, next time we get in this situation, this is what we have to do better, because clearly the game plan that Rod Brindamore had drawn up at 6-on-5 was one that the Jets were not handling properly. And that's why we had such an exciting finish to that game.
Yeah, I got a quick one on the goalie still, Sean. I mean, I know I wasn't here for the Avail because I was driving back from Regina, but I'm not knocking your opinion. I just think today had nothing to do with Hellebuyck. It had everything to do with the fact that the Jets have, I think, 3 back-to-backs in December, and in order to keep David Rittich sharp, you had to get him an extra game instead of waiting until next Sunday.
That's exactly what I said.
Yeah, I just mean it had nothing to do, like, anyways, I'm not knocking it. You're bang on. I mean, it just
we're so fighting tonight. We're so fighting tonight.
Good.
Look at you. You go for a couple days to Regina, and now all our rhythm is gone. It's gone, Ken. Thanks for that. Are you coming down to Minneapolis?
I am, but so far I'm not calling you to go for dinner unless this improves in the next half an hour.
We need to work on our team chemistry, Ken.
Okay.
Ken. That's what I'm saying. Okay, keep going.
My point was that I don't think it had anything to do with the performance from Saturday, and I don't think it was Hellebuyck banging on the door and Rick having to tell him, no, it's not your turn. I think he just was saying, this is David's game, and I don't think that I think they probably decided before Saturday's game against the Penguins was how I saw that, and I mean, anyways, it's David Rittich did his job, so I think he, good credit for him to getting the job done. I mean, the guy played well. I love David Rittich's intensity. This is one of the things that we get to see too. So, well, David Rittich did speak to the media, but before he started, he had his bag to pack, and everything else. He was venting about what happened in the last 5 minutes. So I love the fact that he's such an intense individual, and he was very intense. It reminded me of Al Montoya. Al Montoya in his post-game pressers was always very intense as well. So, and again, he's got a high-energy guy. It's also, Sean, I don't know if you thought this, but when Rittich went behind the net, I thought if the puck was a little bit over to the left, I think he might have taken a shot at the empty net, but he actually casually played it in a smart manner. But interesting. And sorry, I'm really sorry that I missed the Call of Duty reference as COD. My apologies for that.
There you go.
I'm not a gamer, at least not when it comes to
either.
Call of Duty. Until
you brought that up,
I know people are making fun of me,
about.
so I apologize. It's what we're working through here. Anyways, let's get moving.
Dave has to drive in his car. You have time, Stonewall Dave, to hop in your car and drive to my house before the podcast is over, and then you can pick up your 8-pack of Lamplight. There we go. You wanted to get to Josh Morrissey, but before we do that, I want you to give a shout out to your main man, Lou.
Yeah, you bet. For everyone listening live on YouTube and those listening afterward on the podcast, if you're looking for anything regarding real estate, your real estate needs, if you're buying, if you're selling, if you're just curious about how the market's looking, be in touch with our guy Lou Ferlin, best real estate agent in the business. He is, I am a little bit biased. He is my realtor. You can reach him at 204-791-9971 or at the Royal LePage office at 204-989-5000. www.louferlin.ca. Aside with his realty prowess, he's a huge supporter of local sports, the local sports scene. He's a former Manitoba Bison Vanier Cup winner and just an all-around great human being. So if you're looking for anything in the real estate market, get in touch with our main man, Lou Ferlin.
Hey, have we established whether or not Lou goes to Frank and the boys at Victoria? Because I'll tell you, he's a sharp-dressed guy. Yeah,
he is. Yes, he told us when we had the meeting with him. Yes,
there you go. Okay,
good memory.
So
good memory.
That must have been a subconscious thing, because I wasn't sure about the answer to that question, but no doubt. We're gonna have to. I think the home field dig deeper comment of the game is still up for grabs. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for something that wows me. So in the meantime, I just want to give a shout out to our other sponsor at Cambrian Credit Union, who have just launched a new website and a new online banking portal as members of Cambrian Credit Union. Ken, you and I are both very familiar with it. Very ease of use. If you take a look at the website, any kind of financial plans that you have or questions that you have, it's very easy to direct you in the places that you need to go. Really great experience as a web user, and also, of course, Ken, you and I are both members that have an Unfee account, and one of the things that we love about Cambrian is banking for free with Unfee. Save $222 per year. Simply set up a recurring direct deposit every month to your Cambrian checking or savings account, and you qualify. No minimum balance required. Okay, it's been long enough. Let's get to Josh Morrissey. Go.
No, you go. I was trying to set the scene for those who didn't see the press conference.
Rick Bowness was the scene. Oh, okay.
Rick Bowness was about to leave the press conference. You had the mic in your hand, and you said, "I've got one more." So I want you to tell the people what you asked them.
It goes a little something like this. Rick sees that Renny's about to ask a question, and he tries to duck out. Okay, and Renny's like, not so fast, Rick. Get back here. So he actually steps away, walks up, gets back up to the mic. And I thought it was interesting because I've talked to Josh Morrissey before about, kind of what's led to this, this kind of surge in offense that we're seeing from him. Because I don't know. Like this is significant what we're seeing from him, don't you think? I think it's significant,
It's
and
humongous.
I want an explanation. We demand answers, Ken. That's what we do in this business. We demand answers, and
Okay.
I want answers.
We want the truth, okay? It was 90s night at the Jets game, so we want the truth. You can't handle the truth, Reynolds.
There you go. Except we could handle the truth because this was a great answer. Basically, I talked to Josh Morrissey, and one of the things he's talked about is that he feels really freed up under Rick Bowness's new system, and he keeps talking about the green light, and that's the term everybody used. So you know that Rick Bowness got on the phone and kept talking about the green light, and I'm half convinced, Ken, that the first time he saw any of these Jets players, he climbed up a traffic stanchion pole and took off one of the green lights and walked in with it flashing over his head into the Winnipeg Jets dressing room to drive his home point that so many players on this team now have the green light they didn't have before. Josh Morrissey is one of those. I asked him about Josh Morrissey and said, okay, you were coming in here, you wanted more from the defense. I'm interested in what you saw specifically in Josh Morrissey that you thought, I can get more out of this guy. Loved his answer. He said the first thing he talked about with Josh was, listen, when I would come rolling into town with the Dallas Stars, we would create a game plan to handle you, Josh Morrissey, because you are that tough of a player that we need to focus specifically on shutting you down, or it's not going to turn out good for us. Well, if I'm Josh Morrissey, I just got that much taller when he says that. And then he goes on to say, I want even more from you, and I'm going to give everything that you need to get more from you, and I am going to get more from you, he said. And I love that. If I'm Josh Morrissey, I just went from being like that to this now because I've got a coach who's saying, without a doubt, I'm going to make you a better player and you're going to get bigger and better. And then he ends it by saying, at the end of the year, I want you in the top 10 in Norris voting when it's all said and done. Well, now he's set the bar, right? He's taken this player and he said, you may think you're here, but I think you're here. And even though I think you're here, I think I can get you to here. And now here's the bar that I expect you to try to hit. And there is no doubt in anyone's mind, Josh Morrissey is jumping over that bar. And if I were savvy enough, are you savvy enough to name the Canadian a couple of years ago that won the high jump gold medal at the Olympics? No? If I was, I'd say he's jumping over that bar the way that guy did. I'm sure our chat room will get to it. Or maybe that person doesn't exist. I don't know. But you know what? I see so many examples. And there's a story that we have on Mark Scheifele. It's a similar thing that we'll share in our Wednesday night hockey program, a similar conversation that he had. But the one thing that I'm convinced is like so much of Rick Bowness's work was done as soon as he walked in the Winnipeg Jets room with these conversations he had with these players. Because every time I talk to these players, they always go back to this phone conversation they had. And I just get this feeling that, you know, like if they ever did a movie, let's say the Jets go on and they win the Stanley Cup this season, and some local Winnipegger does a movie on this. Like there will be a scene kind of like the ones that you saw in Moneyball where Billy Bean goes in and he has these conversations with these guys who aren't sure what to believe and he kind of like builds them up. Like there will be a scene of these guys getting off the phone in their summer homes with Rick Bowness, putting the phone down and like looking around for a brick wall to run through because he built these guys up and they are flying from it. And Josh Morrissey, I think, is the best example of that, Ken.
He's been awesome. I would also like to remind people too, I mean, like when we saw Josh Morrissey in the Western Hockey League, I believe he was Defenseman of the Year one of the years. This is a guy who had high offensive ceiling. I mean, he put up a lot of points in Prince Albert, and then when he got traded to Kelowna, when they won the Western League Championship over the Brandon Wheat Kings. I mean, this is a guy who came into pro hockey with a high pedigree as an offensive player. When he came to the NHL, he was put into more of a defensive role while still utilizing his excellent mobility and zone exit abilities, all of those other things, Sean, because he had Dustin Byfuglien ahead of him on the power play. He had his buddy and often D partner Jacob Trouba ahead of him. So he didn't have a ton of offensive opportunities early in his career, but that's a testament to Josh that he spent all that time working on rounding out his defensive game, and now he's reaping the rewards when it comes back to tapping into the reservoir that was his offensive game. So to me, that's a really impressive part about Josh's emergence this year. I love what we also know about Josh Morrissey, Sean. Rick Bowness does get credit for telling him that, but Josh has always wanted to push himself to be in the Norris conversation. He has a high standard that he holds himself to, but he also, I think it would have given him a massive boost to have his new head coach say, you know what, not only are you a great player, and not only were you the best defenseman on the Jets last year, he didn't just say, you can be one of those things. He said, I want you to be in the conversation when it comes to the top 10 in the Norris voting. And lo and behold, Josh Morrissey's off to this fantastic start. 18 points in 17 games. He's leading the Jets in scoring, just doing a sensational job on a nightly basis. And, he is to be commended on that because, I agree with it. Sometimes, even if you believe in yourself, to have someone tell you that is absolutely lifting, spirit lifting. Especially, again, we talked about it on Saturday's show, Sean. When you consider everything Josh went through and how he found the joy in hockey, again, after losing his father, Tom, to cancer, I just think it's just incredible testament to Josh Morrissey's abilities, work ethic, character. Like, you can go through the laundry list of things. He's playing at a remarkable level, and he's been absolutely dynamite for the Winnipeg Jets. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah. Derek Drouin was the guy I was thinking about. He's not just a high jumper. He's Derek Drouin is a Canadian track and field athlete who competes in high jump. He won gold at the 2016 Summer Olympics. So I wasn't making it up. I was right. You know what? Live TV, in all honesty, I did think that my mind recalled something, and then I kept talking, and I was like, I think you're making this up as you go along. But I was right. Once again, just like the other comment.
Tristan Rivers, as usual, when I gave the thumbs down to the Sportsnet curse, bang on. Folks, what happened today? Sportsnet curse that the Jets gave up 3 goals? Come on, here we go.
Okay, and you know what? A couple things here. It's been called for, and I know that I forgot it for a bunch of times. So basically, you call for it, you're going to get it. We're going to make this a Sean's Headband version of the Kenny Renny Show. Here we go. So just to make something clear, I wanted to make that my ringtone. I asked my kids how to do it because that's what the chat room suggested. And they didn't know how to do it. So I don't know, either I've raised my kids to be troglodytes. Is that the right word? Anyway, they don't seem to be able to do it. But I did notice, because I don't want to get too far into this, but I noticed that we have our Dig Deeper comment of the night. This is absolutely bang on. T. Will says, why doesn't Wade Flaherty ever get any love for squeezing every ounce of juice out of every goalie that comes through? How many goalies come here almost bottoming out and turn their career around? T. Will, even Coachy 51 said, T. Will, great point regarding Flaherty. And they are right. T. Will, you get the home field Dig Deeper comment of the game, because you, like Josh Morrissey on this night, you just dug a little bit deeper than everyone else. I don't even think he dug a little deeper, Ken. He dug way deeper. That's a great comment and a great point.
Bang on. And you can get all your marketing and more needs from Homefield at myhomefield.ca.
No doubt.
And I got a quick one. Well, flash the banner quickly, and then I got something.
There we go. Luddites. Luddites was the word. Sorry. What banner? Oh yeah, sorry.
Home
yeah, let's
field.
throw up some home field. Oh, you just keep going on the point, and then I'll bring it up. Okay.
No, there we go. There you go. Home Field for marketing and more. It's a proud sponsor of our Dig Deeper award. You can reach them at myhomefield.ca. And speaking of excellent things, I just got a note from our pal Brian Munns. The Winnipeg Ice riding a 15-game winning streak. Zach Benson named WHL Player of the Week after recording a cool and calm 7 points in those 2 games against Connor Bedard and the Winnipeg Ice. If you're interested in going to the Wednesday game against the Lethbridge Hurricanes, we've got 2 sets of 2 tickets to give away either tonight on the broadcast or hopefully tonight on the broadcast. You can send me a note with your name and email into my Twitter DMs, and we will have those tickets sent to you to enjoy a little WHL action at the Ice Cave at Wayne Fleming Arena.
Okay, let's get into Pierre-Luc Dubois. You start.
Okay. Take that sign. Come on, that's a wake up right there from MBHA Ball Hockey. You've had a lot of great takes today. It's not a fluke that Flaherty has done a great job with the Jets goalies. He's done it over a long stretch of time. And sorry, I don't like that comment. In terms of Pierre-Luc Dubois, so he starts the game off by scoring the first goal of the game late in the first period. Great work by that line. Sean, we've been talking the other night. I didn't think that line. I thought that line was a little bit disjointed on Saturday. Again, I wasn't in the building. On TV, I thought that second line wasn't really, clicking on all cylinders. Thought Perfetti was rolling a little bit more. Again, the engagement was high, everything else. It wasn't free flowing necessarily. They did a great job in, leading to that breakaway. I think Perfetti dug her out in a great pass by Blake Wheeler, and Pierre-Luc Dubois buries it on the blocker side. Dubois continues to roll as the game goes on. Was there a time or two he could have chipped the puck off the boards a little bit more efficiently when the net was empty? Sure. But once again, Pierre-Luc Dubois is up to 8 goals, 2 helpers tonight. Great pass to Josh Morrissey for the game winner. He's just playing at an excellent level. And this is the Sean, we talked about this going into the season. The Jets needed this version of Pierre-Luc Dubois, a guy who can give them a performance almost each and every night. And we know this. I've referenced this before, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but after the Jets came home from that second trip to Vegas and Dubois basically put himself on notice, he's been excellent for the Jets, drawing penalties and putting up offense. He's got 16 points, second on the Jets in points. He's got 8 goals. I got into it with someone that I know in the offseason. Pierre-Luc Dubois had 28 goals last year. His career high is 29, I believe. I said I thought Pierre-Luc Dubois was going to score 30 this year. Again, I understand some of my predictions like Nikolai Ehlers are not working out in terms of goal scoring. But Dubois has been excellent. He's been excellent in his two-way game. There have been games where he's used his strength and ability to help drag his teams into that fight, and I think he's just doing an excellent job right now. What did you see?
You know what? I saw a night where he didn't seem to be quite as engaged on the physical side of things, and I didn't have a problem with that. There was that one point in the game where he you could tell he tried to draw a penalty, and I loved his reaction. He tried to draw the penalty. He didn't get the call. So what does he do? He gets up and he bashes the guy that he tried to get the penalty drawn on, right? Like one way or another, he's going to stick it to that guy, right? And so I like that about it because I just like that little bit of pettiness to the game. You know what I mean? Like he's petty with the other team, and it's delicious and it's great and it adds flavor to the game. But like you said, the recognition in that moment of the game to head down the ice, like both him and Josh Morrissey did it. The Jets in their defensive way, and give Cole Perfetti all the credit for that first goal. He's the guy who turns the puck over and very smartly moves it back to Blake Wheeler, who can handle the puck, who's got space to make the play, but hand it to Pierre-Luc Dubois, who recognizes that it and heads down the ice before his defenseman knows what's happening. And the finish is absolutely great on that. He also finds Josh Morrissey down the ice at the end. I've said this. I don't know a game in how long, including the last game that they lost, that I thought he gave them opportunities to score on the power play. They didn't, but that very well could have been the difference in that Pittsburgh game. Pierre-Luc Dubois, I think, is taking a disproportionate chunk of wins compared to almost everyone on their team. Like I think as far as the Jets winning and earning points this year, the top three guys, I know I'm giving pieces of the win to everybody. I know that that's the mindset on this team, is that everyone from the top six to the first forward to the 12th forward are going to get a piece of that. But the players that I think who have had the largest pieces of the most victory, Connor Hellebuck, Josh Morrissey, and Pierre-Luc Dubois. And Pierre-Luc Dubois, what I like about it is on nights where maybe he doesn't feel like the offense is going, he's bashing someone and getting people upset and drawing penalties. And then on a night like tonight where this game just doesn't really seem to have that flavor, then he goes out and he does what he does tonight, an absolutely gorgeous breakaway goal and then an absolutely gorgeous breakaway setup to win the game. Pierre-Luc Dubois is finding a way to be an impact player every single night. To your point, this is what the Jets needed him to be. And if we talk about players like Kyle Connor, who have not exploded the way we thought they would, and missing Nick Ehlers, and if you would have said to someone at the beginning of the year, you can't succeed with Ehlers out and Kyle Connor not going, well, you can if you get contributions like that from, out of the blue from Josh Morrissey and from Pierre-Luc Dubois. He, to me right now, is one of the banner carriers for the Winnipeg Jets. And I just want to point this out here. Okay, you finish up because I got something I got to point out.
I think I'm with you on all those names, but I think, obviously when we talked about the Jets going into the year, they needed a big contribution from Mark Scheifele also, and he's delivered on that front as well.
No doubt.
Not just in terms of his goal scoring. He's got to be on the Mount Rushmore of Jets for the first 17, or when we're talking about getting close to the quarter point of the NHL season. That was just my quick one on that.
So he'd be the fourth, though.
Sorry, I'm going to...
If it's sure. Mount Rushmore is 4, but like if I'm taking the top 3 on the team, I don't have him ahead of Pierre-Luc Dubois. Pierre-Luc Dubois, not only do I think adds all that flavor with the penalties, but he's the second leading scorer on this team right now.
No, bang on. I'm just saying that the Jets would not be where they are without having the commitment and renewed passion and energy of Mark Scheifele as well.
Okay, and I want to throw this out here. When you were doing live broadcasts like this, you're kind of like flying by the seat of your pants. So you expect to get some things wrong. I got to say Renny is going 2 for 2 here because people were calling out my use of the term troglodytes. I looked it up. A troglodyte is a person who is regarded as being deliberately ignorant or old-fashioned. It still holds, Ken. Me calling my kids troglodytes because they don't know how to help me with my phone, it holds. And I know Luddites works as well. And maybe, just maybe, Luddites maybe fits the situation a little bit more. But troglodyte still stands. Renny is 2 for 2. He's on fire tonight.
Nice job. And we talked about breakaways, Sean, in our,
You couldn't wait for me to stop talking there. You're like, just shut up with this and let's move on to some hockey. Good idea.
Congratulations on getting the word right that you will never, ever use again in a sentence. That word is banned from this show. Come on.
You can't do that. Okay, go on.
Sorry, so we talked about the Dubois breakaway. We talked about the Morrissey breakaway. But how about the play by David Gustafsson to strip Andrei Svechnikov of the puck high in the Jets defensive zone, to poke it forward, get it to Jansen Harkins. Harkins finds Gustafsson for the breakaway. Gustafsson makes a pretty good move. The save is made, and there's Mikey Eyssimont going down to one knee, coming across his body, and flipping it into the net for his first NHL goal. He basically said, "This is the best day of my life." I mean, that this is a guy, he worked so hard to get to the NHL. It's his 5th NHL game. Rick Bowness basically, he told, Rick Bowness, if he told us, he told his players. He told his coaching staff, we need more from the bottom 6. Sean, what did you and I talk about on Saturday? The Jets cannot sustain the success with their injury to 3 top 9 forwards if they play the 4th line 4 minutes. So they only got into the 6-minute range today for Eyssimont, but in a game where they got 2 extra minutes, they delivered an important goal, the 2-0 marker, and that is a testament to that 4th line for wanting more. And this is what I was talking about the other day. You and I talked about it by text. I thought Jansen Hart, in a game against Carolina, they made the Jets look slow last year in a couple of those games. Getting the speed of Jansen Harkins into the lineup, that's an interesting combination. And Mikey Eyssimont mentioned it. In one of his best years, he played with David Gustafsson. And now I think at the start of this year, when Harkins went down after being waived, and he was so dominant in the American League, Those guys played well together and did a great job together. They did it all together tonight, and that line deserves some credit in a game where they needed to produce some offense. Sorry, we got 5 minutes left. We should dig in to Billy Hanel a little bit. Yeah, I mean, what did you think? You go and then I'll go.
Okay, so I've said this before. I said this about Dylan Sandberg. I think this was a good night for Ville Heinola because it was a night where I didn't notice Ville Heinola. This is what I want. Unless, you're either having a guy walk out it's not his first NHL game, but it's first time back in a while and absolutely shooting the lights out. Clearly, that's what you'd want most of all. But what you don't want is a guy trying to do that and ending up on the wrong side of the score sheet, especially in a game as tight as it was tonight. This was a hard-checking, fast Carolina Hurricanes team. This was a tough test. This was a really tough test. And I thought going into this game, the fact that they had Ville Heinola alongside Dylan Sandberg, it was going to be a challenge for them. And it didn't look like that at any point tonight. There was a couple times. There was one time I saw Ville Heinola, I thought, rushed the puck and turned it over. But at least when he turned it over, he had the puck in his own zone and he got it out across the blue line. It allowed Carolina to reload, and it wasn't the right play, but at least it wasn't the worst play. Other than that, I hadn't noticed him that much. I saw him make a couple nice crisp passes. There was one where he had it in his zone, and he threw it way up to a Jets player on the other side of the ice, waiting at the red line, where that player then was stationary and moved the puck backwards to another Jets player coming out with skill. That tells me right off the bat that that's a planned exit. He was told to look here under certain situations. It can be risky because he's putting it all the way across the ice and halfway down the ice, and yet he picked it up and had the confidence to make that play. So I give him a B+ grade on the night. If I'm a coach, I give him another chance after something like that. And I'll be honest, I noticed him slightly for all those moments, which are good moments, but I didn't notice him in a way that he was doing anything wrong. To me, he was better in this game than Capobianco was in the last game. I think Ville Heinola earned himself another start.
I agree totally. I thought he was steady, unspectacular, but steady. But you don't need him to be spectacular. There will be a time when he is probably going to be spectacular. You're not asking that for him on the third pairing and when he's not running the second power play unit. To me, I also got to get something out
get it out.
We understand the free Ville and everything else, but one quick thing I need to get out, Sean. People saying the Jets are putting Ville in a position to fail by playing him against the Carolina Hurricanes. That is a giant wake up. If Ville Heinola wants to be a regular in the NHL, he needs to be able to play against the Carolina Hurricanes or any other team that is strong on the forecheck. It is his biggest skill, his ability to get back to pucks and break pucks out. If he can't do it against Carolina, he can't do it against anyone. I mean, of course there's easier matchups. Would it have been easier for him to jump right in against Anaheim? Of course it is. But you are trying to get a job at the NHL level. 2 games is not enough to get rusty. I understand it's not easy and it's not optimal, but you're trying to get into the NHL as a full-time player. You need to be ready. It's been way tougher for Kyle Capobianco to go 10+ games without getting into the lineup than it was for Ville Heinola. So good on Heinola. He was steady in the game. I think the more that he plays, the better he'll play. But right now there aren't 18 minutes available to him, but he did the best that he could in those just under 12 minutes. 15 shifts for 11:48, I believe it was. So, good on Heinola. It's a nice building block, and hey, he's probably going to play against the Minnesota Wild, and now it's up to Ville Heinola to start stacking games. I've said this the whole time. It's up to Heinola to force the coaching staff to keep him in the lineup. His skill set can help them. That is obvious. There are things he needs to continue to work on. That's true for any defenseman. But Ville Heinola is not sitting in the room shaking in his boots and saying, I don't want to play against Carolina. They're too good. He wants to play against every single team in the NHL. I applaud him for being ready. And now it's about stacking positive performances, because we've been talking about this the whole season. There is a job available right now on that third pairing. Yes, Dylan DeMello is getting closer to return, but Ville Heinola, if you want to stay in the conversation by playing well. He took an important step today, but it's not like he went out there and said, oh, hey, look at how Heinola played. He better play 18 minutes the next time. No, that didn't happen, but he did a nice job. It's a nice building block for him.
Okay, we got to shut it down here, but I got to say, I had a ton of fun with the chat room tonight. I'm taking a battering here, and I love it, Ken. Bring it on. Bring it on. But you know what we should do? We should do it live. And there's a time that we can do that at the Kenny and Renny Christmas party, Sunday, December 18th. It's a Jets game. You can come on down starting at 6 o'clock and watch the game with us. We've got our own dedicated space. Following the game, Kenny and Renny will be doing a live version of the show in front of everybody there. We're going to have a computer there, so if people want to come up and join the show and ask questions, they can do so. They can, no more of this virtually booing me. You can boo me live. We're over a third sold. We're closing in on about halfway sold. So if you want to get in, don't wait. Hop in, because Kenny and Renny are looking forward to meeting up with all of you. We love spending time with you in the chat room. I think we'll love even more sitting back, having a beer with you, and having some conversations about hockey. The idea of this, Ken and I have talked about this. I don't think we've ever said this on the show, but what we've been trying to do the entire time we did this, we wanted this show to feel like we were at a bar and we were chatting hockey with friends, and more friends just kept coming in, and everyone grabbed a seat, and we all kind of sat together and hoisted a beer and had some fun and some good conversations together. Well, we want to do that in real life, and we'd love it if you join us. So if you want to go get a hold of either Ken or myself on social, you can direct message Ken on Twitter or myself on Twitter. If you get a hold of our emails, you can do that. But get a hold of us because tickets are, like I said, approaching halfway sold. So if you're gonna hop in on this, you should hop in as soon as possible. I want to give a shout out.
Did you say the date?
December 18th December 18th, starting at 6 o'clock that night. Do you know what game that is?
At the function room at TransCanada Brewing. Company.
It'll be at TransCanada.
It's the game against the Seattle Kraken. It's the back-to-back with the Vancouver Canucks Saturday, Seattle Kraken Sunday, and that was a fun game. The Jets played against the Kraken earlier this month.
No, a good team. Hey, Zach Claris's ankle asks, will Kenny issue wake-ups in person on the 18th of December? I can tell you, people, if you're out with Ken and we've had a couple of drinks, it's nothing but wake-ups. That's all. Every sentence that he starts with me starts with wake-up. So if you want to get wake-up in person, that's the place to do it, December 18th. Also want to give a shout-out once again to our sponsors. We've said this once. I'll say it every single time. If you appreciate the conversations happening in these spaces, please appreciate our sponsors who invest in keeping these conversations going. That would be Vittorio Rossi, TransCanada Brewing, Johnston Group, Lou Ferlin, Homefield, and Cambrian Credit Union. And finally, you were on fire tonight, chat room. I want to do this with you live, but until then, we'll just keep doing it. Ken and I will both be down. It is another Sportsnet game, challenging the Sportsnet curse. Wednesday night hockey as the Jets start a 3-game Central Division road trip starting in Minneapolis. We'll be down there, Ken, and we'll be talking with you after the game. Can't wait to talk to you, everybody. Have a great Monday night.